Hey guys, it's Ryan with My Listing Club. In this video, we are continuing on with the educational series, How to Build an Online Business with the MyListing WordPress theme. In this particular video, I'm going to be covering plugin caching briefly, and then the meat and potatoes is image optimization. As we've done throughout this video series, we've referred to the MyListing project template as a guide. You can go to the MyListing Club website, it's mylisting.club, and click on the MyListing project template card to see what this product is all about. It gives you a brief overview of what's included. There's a walkthrough video from me in there, and then at the bottom there's a changelog. So I'm keeping people abreast of all of the things that I'm adding and changing within this template. If you want to buy it, you can just click the Buy Now button. If you're an Ultimate member, you get 50% off. If you purchase a starter site for me, I will give you a copy of this template. And if you are a care plan client, you get this template as many times as you would like, just by request, okay? So enough about that. Here we are looking at the template itself, and we are currently working over here in the performance column. And like I said, we're going to talk about plugin caching briefly and image optimization next, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and move this to my other screen and do a bit of narrative here, and then we'll get into how this all works and set it up and everything. Okay, plugin caching. Typically, those that use lower quality hosting will need to install a WordPress caching plugin that offers things like page caching. This is because their core infrastructure is not optimally configured and or running on premium hardware. So that cheaper hosting, that $5 a month, $10 a month, somewhere in that range, they may throw a lot of hard disk space at you. So someone approached me yesterday, or the day before yesterday, said, hey, your Kinsta plan offers 10 gig. I can get 200 gig from another vendor. And my response to that is we're not talking about apples to apples here. What Kinsta offers is premium hardware. So the disk space is premium. These other cheaper hosts buy the hardware at a really low cost, and then they're able to distribute it at a very low cost. So it's not the same performance. It's not the same hardware. It's like you've got a fast computer, or you've got a really cheap computer, but they've thrown a lot of cheap hard drive space on there to make it seem like they're giving you more for your dollar, but they're really not. Okay, so that's the difference there. So one of the problems with page caching is it adds yet another layer that must be closely administered in terms of what's allowed to be cached, clearing the cache, and so on. And this can contribute to content not being displayed correctly or the most recent version displayed to your visitors. So if you throw another plugin into the mix that does caching, it's one more layer of just that you have to worry about. And if you're with Kinsta, you don't have to worry about that. All that headache and stuff goes away. Okay. So like I said, yeah, this could be avoided simply with quality web hosting and a top-notch CDN, which Kinsta integrates with Cloudflare, which is one of the top CDNs in the industry. We'll get into that again here in a second. Yeah, since switching my websites and all my client websites over to Kinsta around 3 years ago, right around the time when I started the club, I have not really, I don't think I've used the caching plugin at all since then. I had to support some client sites that were using it just because Kinsta wasn't quite there entirely yet for what they weren't offering what I'm about to show you. So the need for a caching plugin could be more justifiable back then. But anyway, long story short, it's no longer needed. And I'm going to show you why that is. But another point to that, like if you come to me and say, Ryan, like, what does this caching plugin do over this one, or which one do you recommend? I don't keep track of that stuff anymore. I've got enough stuff on my plate to keep track of and to manage for people and to have knowledge about. It's just not something I deal with these days. So there's tons of resources out there. If you do an internet search for top caching plugins, you can find some information that way. But again, I would skip all that nonsense. I would get hosting similar to Kinsta or similar to Kinsta, and throw Cloudflare in the mix and call it a day. That's just my opinion because it works. It just works. yeah, so lastly, if you're in an environment where you absolutely need a caching plugin, please be aware that you need to exclude certain pages from your website. So hopefully that caching plugin that you buy or use will automatically exclude WooCommerce endpoints. So cart, checkout, and then the endpoints like the My Account. For my listing people out here, we have to worry about the My Listings endpoint, the what else? Stats, things of that nature. Policy pages, you want to make sure that your visitors are always seeing the latest version of your policies. So exclude those from page caching, because otherwise you could be serving up stale versions of your policies, and that could get you in some trouble. Explore pages, exclude those. Add listing page and the claim listings page. That's just the core set that I've got there documented as a checklist in the template. There's, depending on your website, you could have more pages that you should exclude, but that's the core set that I see out there. Okay, so enough about plugin caching. I think you understand my point of view on that by this time. So let's move over to image optimization. This is the exciting stuff that's coming from Kinsta now, a new feature that they're offering. So we're going to run through this together. But before we get into the demonstration and all that, let me, again, another short narrative here. I see there being two parts to this. There's setting a max file size, which is what I call image governance for images that are uploaded to your website. Then there's optimizing the website, optimizing the images that make it past your image governance and into your media library. So again, image governance is governing, allowing what images can make it into your site based on their file size. Image optimization is what you then do to optimize those images that do make it through to your website, to your media library. Okay, so those are the two layers. So I'm going to show you. Kinsta has the image optimization feature. I'm going to walk you through that in this video next. I already covered this one less plugin that you need for your. Oh yeah, so this is different. So it's kind of like the caching, but in this case, we're talking about image optimization. This allows you to get rid of another plugin as well. So until this came out, I was using and recommending ShortPixel, specifically the ShortPixel Adaptive Images plugin. That is no longer needed with if you have Kinsta. That is no longer needed. So you can avoid that additional complexity, the time to administer it, manage it, any costs that are associated with it, like for the image credits and whatnot. That can also go away now. So really exciting stuff there. But again, if you're not using Kinsta or a similar solution that's going to provide you what I'm about to show you, then yes, I absolutely recommend you ShortPixel all day long. There's a guide, discount, etc. in the club for ShortPixel. Okay, all right. So enough jibber jabbering about that. Let's actually look at this. So what I did here was I added a website to Cloudflare, this anglerproject.com, and the only thing that I did to it was basically I just added the site, got the domain talking to Kinsta, and then I set up the required page rule to make all of this happen, and I will show you that here. So jumping over to the Kinsta dashboard, once you fire up the site, the CDN is going to be automatically enabled, and the edge caching. Okay, so here's this edge caching tab. That's going to be automatically enabled, like I said. This is also a new feature. I covered this in the previous video. So this is caching at the edge, caching your HTML at the edge in Cloudflare, along with, so Kinsta and Cloudflare work together. This previously was a paid feature, is a paid feature of Cloudflare. So this, if you were paying for that, which is the APO service, this replaces that. So that was, at a minimum, was $5 a month. If you signed up for the Pro plan on Cloudflare just to get that and some other perks, that also goes away with what I'm about to show you. So edge caching replaces the APO, the image optimization that I'm about to show you. Those two together replace the Cloudflare Pro plan pretty much entirely. Okay. So the next thing, the CDN is enabled by default. So that's ready to go. But what I'm going to show you is this image optimization piece that is not enabled by default. Okay, so all we do here is under the CDN tab in your Kinsta dashboard is click on settings underneath this image optimization item. And then you're going to choose lossless or lossy compression. If you're familiar with any image optimization solution out there, this is going to make sense to you. A majority of the time, you're going to choose lossy, unless you have a website where it's absolutely imperative that you save the image quality, all of the quality of all your images. You don't want to touch reduce any of the quality of your images. So like a photography website, for example, or an artist's website would be another one potentially. Okay, but most of the time you're just going to choose lossy and roll forward, which is what I've done here. So with that enabled, you're telling Kinsta to optimize your images using the Cloudflare, using Cloudflare's, it's called their polish service. So underneath the underlying setup here, you're using Kinsta to tie into Cloudflare's polish service to optimize the images. So back in Kinsta, if we go under speed and optimization, you'll see here, the second one down here is this polish service. And you have to upgrade to Pro, which is $20 a month. I think that price is even going up to get this feature. So that partnership with Kinsta and Cloudflare is now allowing you to get this for free. This also replaces short pixel adaptive images. They do the same thing, okay? Polish is Cloudflare's version of short pixel adaptive images. So now with Kinsta, you eliminate the need to pay for both of those. So think about that when you think about, well, Kinsta is just a little more expensive, but if I go on Ryan, with Ryan and his Kinsta plan with the club, I save money there too. When you start adding it all up, the administration headaches that you save, the performance you get, the savings you get from your image optimization plugin going away, from your caching plugin going away, all of that stuff starts to add up, and you just think about like, I can focus on my business and not worry about some of these technical things so much. Okay, so that's the goal there. Okay, so we've now enabled that image optimization. There's one key piece that you need to do now. You need to tell Cloudflare to not cache your stuff. And what you're doing when you do that is you're saying, I want Kinsta's integration with Cloudflare. So Kinsta plus Cloudflare to do that caching instead of just Cloudflare on its own. Okay, so for that we go back and over to Cloudflare, and then we go up under caching, rules, page rules. And there's a guide in the club. I've updated the Cloudflare guide. I've updated an image optimization guide. I've updated how to optimize MyListing websites in general, a guide there, and the image governance guide. Those 4 guides I updated this week. They are fresh, ready to go for you. So this stuff is all covered. Okay, so we're under page rules. We need to create one rule for what we're talking about specifically now. Okay, and you're seeing that here on my screen. So you just create the rule. You can actually create this together. I'm going to save this. Okay, so like I said, rules, page rules, create page rules. Click that button. URL, you're just going to want to put in your domain name, and then just put your domain name in there. Okay, if you have subdomains, so like maybe this website has a community, so maybe it's like community.anglerproject.com. You want to cover all of your subdomains. So for that, you'd put *. And then the name of your domain. So let's just pretend we're a single domain for the purposes of this video, right? So just keep it easy. Put in your domain name. Under the settings here, pick a setting. You're going to choose cache level bypass. So you may think, oh, that doesn't make sense, Ryan. Why don't we want to cache our stuff? Well, we're just simply telling Cloudflare, our Cloudflare account, not to cache it, so our Kinsta Cloudflare combo can cache it. It may seem confusing, but that's what we got to do. Okay, so that's all we got to enter in there. Click Save and Deploy the page rule, and Cloudflare is going to automatically put this little / at the end. So we're done. That's all you got to do. You have now enabled all of the stuff we're talking about, and you're ready to rock. So I guess the key question then is you're asking maybe is, how do I know this is even working? So one of the things that this service does is it automatically serves up your images as WebP. So you may or may not want to convert it before, but with MyListing websites, you don't have control all the time of what people are uploading. So you don't know if your listing owners are going to upload JPEGs, PNGs, whatever, but they're likely not going to upload WebP. So that's where this is very valuable and comes into play. If you are in 100% control of your website and what images go into your site itself and the listings, some people have that set up for their MyListing sites, then yeah, by all means, get that WebP version uploaded initially to save on that disk space, because what this service does is it leaves your original image intact and it serves the optimized version at the edge for performance. So it's meeting your customers and your users where they are versus at the server level where it'd be slower. So it's meeting them at their doorstep, serving those assets much faster to them. Okay, so again, it leaves your original image intact. If I upload a 2 meg JPEG, this service is going to leave that image alone. It's going to take it into the cloud, into Cloudflare. It's going to optimize it, and it's going to convert it to WebP. Okay, so a much smaller file to serve. All right, so how do we know this is working? So I've fired up a test site here, and I have a post. So let's go ahead and copy the URL for this post. I'm going to open this in another browser, just to where I'm not logged in. I'm like an anonymous browser. All right, so I've dropped this URL over here into this browser. And what you want to do is you want to inspect the page. Oh, let me back up first of all. There's two ways to do this. I'm going to find HTTPS checker. Okay, there's two ways to do this. The easiest way for non-technical people is Kinsta's HTTP status checker, and I've linked to this in the guide that I've updated. But if you know the exact asset, so let's say this image right here, and you can get the URL from your image from your media library in WordPress, but if you know the exact link to that image, you can just drop that into this tool. You know, let's say you have this tool bookmarked. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. Let's see. I want the actual URL of this image. What am I doing wrong here? There we go. Nope, that's not it. All right, let's just go over here and grab the image. Maybe I'm just brain farting it for now. Copy URL. Let's go back over here. Let's drop that back in. What am I doing wrong here? Yeah, I guess that is what we got. All right, never mind. Ignore me. All right, so here we go. Drop that in. Click check. Showing us our redirect up there at the top. And then this is the key part down here. Where is it at? Scroll down, scroll down. So right here, this status right here stands for Kinsta Cloudflare Cache Status. So that's the combo of Kinsta and Cloudflare. Before we did that, before this even came out, there's just this right here, Cloudflare Cache Status. But now that we've got Kinsta in the mix here, it's this one, Kinsta Cloudflare Cache Status. That's the one we want to make sure that it has a status of a hit. If it's hit, that means it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Okay? The other way to do this is to inspect the page. This is easier. This is the faster way to do it. It's not the easiest, but It's the easiest and fastest if you know what you're doing. It's just a little bit more technical. But yeah, just load the page, inspect it. Let's go ahead and inspect this image. So we see here when we inspect it that perf matters is lazy loading it. You see this line right here, perf matters -lazy. So that's cool. So I wanted to make sure that that was turned on. So make sure that all worked, and it does. So I just wanted to show you that real quick. Let me go and close this. All right, so let's inspect the page again. This time let's click this network tab up here. And once we do that, let's click refresh again. Now the images are below the fold, so we need to scroll down a bit here, and you'll see here on the right hand side, see how they came into play there? Let's do it one more time. I'm going to refresh the page, and you see here over on the right hand side, there's nothing loaded other than the favicon. So when I scroll down, you'll see those two images come into play. And if they don't, just refresh your browser again and scroll down. There we go. So you see them coming into play there. If you look in the column here where it says type, you'll see WebP. So what it did, it's already converted our image. And then now we want to look for that status. So don't confuse CF cache status. That's the old Cloudflare. You want to look for Kinstas. Here we go. So Kinsta CF cache status is saving. I have no idea what that status is. So let's try something here. Let's try something on the fly. Let's say that you've had Cloudflare rolling out there for a while and caching your stuff. And one of the things you'd want to do then is just get out from underneath that. Just go over here, click purge cache, purge everything. And at this point, Cloudflare has nothing to do with your cache. Okay, it's just you've separated yourself from that, and you're just over on the Kinsta side of it. Okay, so now let's also clear Kinsta just to be sure we've done that. The first thing we want to do is clear the server caching. So for that, let's go back over to our WordPress dashboard. Click this clear caches item up here at the top. This is kind of a newer thing that Kinsta added. And then click clear all caches. And then clear all caches again. This is going to clear what's called the site cache, which is your edge caching, and then your server level caching. So we still have that CDN caching level that we need to clear. So for that, for now, we need to go back to our Kinsta dashboard and go over to CDN and click clear CDN cache. Now at this point, we've cleared all levels of our Kinsta cache as well. I put in a feature request with Kinsta because I think there should be an option in the WordPress dashboard to clear your CDN as well. So they said that was a good idea, and they would look to add that. So you shouldn't have to bounce back and forth as much. I would also love just to see a magic button that says, hey, like when I click clear all caches, I mean literally clear all caches, right? So hopefully they do that as well. Okay, but anyway, all of our caching is cleared. Let's now go back over here and refresh this page a couple of times so that the caching will kick in. So let's do it one more time. Scroll down, we see our images come into play. They are WebP. Let's click on one. Now let's look for that status. It's still saving. So I think when I was testing all of this with Kinsta that they might have done something to make this stick here. That should not be there. So if I look at one of mine, let's look at one of mine, for example. So let's go to MyListing Club. Let's go see. Bear with me one second. Okay, so if I go over here to the club website and I go to, I know I did this with if so. Let's go to optimization. If so post is what I tested this with. All right, let's find if so. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Because this had one of these like bigger, taller images, so it was kind of bigger in size. So I knew, or was pretty sure, that Cloudflare was going to convert this from a JPEG to a WebP. So let's go ahead and inspect the page. let's open that network section there. And let me go ahead and refresh one more time here. Let's sort this by images. So there's a little, click this little IMG option. So that's just gonna like filter everything a little better for us. Here we go. So this is the image. So let's find that Cloudflare cache status hit, but yeah, see, that's backwards. So again, I would have to go into the, I'm going to have to go into the clubs. Here, bear with me one second here. Basically, because of this new feature, you just got to get out from underneath the original Cloudflare cache. It's a mouthful, to make all of this stuff work. So I'm just going to clear everything out here. Purge cache, purge everything. Bring this back over here. Let's go. Let me retry that page again. Yeah, it's not in there. Anyway, I don't know why that's not working for us, but basically how you know it's working, and it'll be in that guide, but I'll just tell you straight away. It was working 100% before this video, so that's just like Murphy's Law. But what you want to look for is just this Kinsta CF cache status will say hit when it's working. Okay, let me try this other image. I think when we were, like I said, I think when I was doing that testing with Kinsta, they toggled something onto my account and they forgot to untoggle it. That's why I'm struggling to show you what this really should show here. So I need to get back with them and have them turn something off. But yeah, that's causing me not to be able to show you what this looks like. But that's what you want to look for. Don't get it mixed up. Once again, don't get it mixed up with this one, CF-cache-status. Don't get it mixed up with that one. You want this one to be a hit. If it's not, just contact Kinsta, and they'll help you straight away with it. If you're a care plan client of mine, by all means, feel free to reach out to me. If I'm available during business, if it's during my business hours, I will help you. Otherwise, Kinsta will help you too straight away. Get all this going. But yeah, I don't want you to get discouraged by all of this. Go here to clear this. Go here to clear that. You want to keep these caches intact. That's how you serve the fastest version of your website. When you start going and you clear all this stuff out, that cache has to build up. Your site's going to deliver the assets even slower. So you typically will not go through all this. You typically will go through it once, and that's it. On rare occasions, you might need to clear everything. Like if you go through a mass overhaul of the design and content of your website, then yeah, maybe then. But you typically, once you get this rolling, you're good to go. I just don't want you to get discouraged by that. This is all special circumstances because I had Kinsta work with me to test a lot of this. Okay. So really exciting stuff. Get on board with Kinsta. Get that edge caching in place. Get that image optimization in place. Start getting some of those plugins removed from your site. Get your site going faster, so you can focus on your business and not worry about some of these other things. Okay. Hope you found this video useful. If you have any feedback or you notice anything that I should update in the guides, I can't accommodate for every website combo out there, the plugins that you have and whatnot. But if you're on the same stack that I use, which many people are, then we can all help each other figure this out as we go. But really exciting stuff. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe so I can keep doing videos like this, and I will see you on the next one. Okay, bye.